Are you sure you want to start streaming? No, no, never. I gotta mute my phone, don't I? Do not disturb for these couple hours. There we go. Do not disturb on. Turn on the Twitch dashboard. Get my cup of water here. I'll be yawn today. Wish it was a little bit warmer outside. It's in the 40s. Yeah, not bad. It's cold, you know. Keep getting these warm, cold, warm, cold. The trees are starting to bud out. It's, yeah. Kind of looks like we're going to get early spring. So, yeah, enough. So we got a lot to talk about. We got, you know, the Oscars that just happened. You know, Star Wars, Star Trek. You know, all the news that's happened. Yeah, to which it always, you know, is interesting how the news just pops up right in around time. Let's see if anything's popped up. Warner reveals why they changed the name of Birds of Prey to Harley Quinn. Looks like a Warner Bros. Representative said the title change was one part of a search expansion for ticket sites. In other words, people kept looking for Harley Quinn. They weren't looking for Birds of Prey, and that was messing up the whole search engine optimization that they're going for. Although, frankly, if they had released this movie, you know, a few months from now or a few months ago, they probably would have done better. I don't know why they released it in February. February is just not a time to release movies. Yeah. So I'm just not, you know. But we'll talk about that, later in the box office report, which will be in the comic book edition this time. Let's see if there's anything else we can talk about the pre-show here. New Wonder Woman photos highlight Armor, Lasso, and Steve Trevor. Oscars address Luke Perry in memoriam omission. Well, I'm sure that the reason why they didn't put Luke Perry in was he was more of a TV actor than he was a movie actor. So he'll be covered, you know, when the Emmys roll around. Or was he? Oh, was he in the previous Emmys? I don't know. I can't remember. Let's see. Anyway. Anyway, let's get on with the show. So I can put this show together. All right. Let's get ready. Let's make sure our board is set up for the show. Oop. Opened up my Facebook there. Portfolio. I'll get my Stream Deck all in the right thing here. I wonder what a tinging sound is I'm hearing. Quick back out here. Change my Stream Deck profile on my mini deck here. There we go. All right. Got that going for us. We are ready to go. Ah, that's what's happening. I'm skipping frames, looks like. Oh well, I'm not worried about frames skipping. As long as the show records, that's all I care about. Anyway, let's start the recording. Actually, hold on. Alexa, what's my notification?
One new notification from Amazon Shopping. A shipment has arrived.
Okay. Tonight, Picard breaks records, Mark Hamill gets reunited with a record, and we remember Orson Bean and others on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 62 of Multiverse Tonight. I'm, of course, your host, Thomas Townley. And what have you been thinking of Picard? I think it's been doing pretty great. They finally got the old man into space at last. And there's so many backstories of these characters I'd like to see told. And, also every episode so far has kind of left me in a happy place. So I'm very, very happy about it. Now, Star Wars fans, my condolences. No Oscar wins, but it's an honor to be nominated, right? Now, on a completely different subject, Valentine's Day is just a few days away, and if you're new to the podcast, let me just tell you that Valentine's Day happens to be my birthday. Now, you want to give me a present? Just spread the word about the podcast, and if you'd like to donate $1, you can find the appropriate links over at multiversetonight.com. Now, let's start out with some Star Trek news. Now, Star Trek news today starts with Picard again, and it's breaking records over at CBS All Access. Picard, along with the Grammys and the end of the NFL season, led to record high new signups for the streaming service, beating its previous record in February of last year. In fact, the first week of Picard was the second best sign-up week, the best being the 2019 Super Bowl. The premiere of Star Trek Picard also set a new record for total streams, driving the highest volume of subscribers streaming a CBS All Access original series ever. Now, the Picard series was up more than 115% and 180% over the previous record set by Star Trek Discovery, making Picard the service's most watched premiere ever. And that's pretty good. That just shows you that if you give people something that they want, they'll come to watch it. Thank you, CBS. That's exactly what I wanted. And according to Mark Dubois, Chief Digital Officer at Viacom CBS and President and CEO of CBS Interactive, quote, "We've seen tremendous continued growth in the service, and the new records we've experienced due to Star Trek Picard, the Grammys, and a fantastic season of football are a phenomenal way to kick off what will be a fantastic year for CBS All Access. CBS All Access continues to build upon its great mix of programming, from original series to sports and special events, and we strategically programmed 2020 to bring subscribers an always-on calendar of much-watched series and events," unquote. Picard has also been declared fresh by Rotten Tomatoes. Now, the key word there is an always-on calendar. So that means, is there going to be another Star Trek series that will immediately come after Star Trek Picard, to keep me watching? If they really wanted me to stay and watch, bring out the cartoon. Bring out Star Trek Lower Decks. I want to see this. Discovery, I'll cancel and wait until most of the season is out before re-upping again, because Discovery just doesn't do much for me. I'm interested in where the story is going, but not enough to spend time once a week. I want to do it in one fair shot. Anyway, while if you go out to Los Angeles between April 30th and September 6th, why not head over to the Skirball Cultural Center in Westwood for Star Trek Exploring New Worlds, which will be a visual examination of the sci-fi franchise's impact on culture, art, and technology, as well as its futuristic vision of inclusiveness. The exhibit was originally organized by the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle and will bring 100 artifacts, set pieces, and props, including Captain Kirk's captain's chair, Leonard Nimoy, Nichelle Nichols, and Patrick Stewart's costumes, filming model of the Enterprise, Excelsior, and Deep Space Nine, and a bunch of stuff showcasing Star Trek's impact on culture, art, and technology. That sounds kind of cool, I wish that they would have some sort of touring exhibit. Especially if toured somewhere close to me like Wichita or Hutchinson, you know, someplace that I could get to fairly. Even Kansas City, if they did it, at the same time as Planet Comic Con, that would be great. Anyway, let's move on. Picard isn't the only thing that's recently premiered. Star Trek Online is celebrating its 10th anniversary with Star Trek Online Legacy, which has a new mission featuring Jerry Ryan as Seven of Nine and Sonequa Martin Green as Michelle Burnham. Jerry Ryan has been in stow for a few years now, having voiced her character for the Delta Rising expansion, and now she's back as her Picard version of the character. Legacy will have two new featured episodes based around the Excalibans from the original series episode The Savage Curtain, a new 5-person task force operation called The Hell with Honor, the Mycelium TFO, and the anniversary celebration with a brand new T6 Khitomer Alliance battlecruiser. And it's available right now on PC and on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 starting on March 3rd. And as always, it's free to play. Now, if you're playing the game and you want to join a fleet, why not join our fleet, the Multiverse Tonight fleet? Just go in game and search for Multiverse Tonight fleet, and do it today. There's pretty much no one on the fleet but me, but I would love to see more of you in there. Give me someone else to talk to. Blurbs have been released for the new Simon & Schuster Star Trek novels. First off, in June, is Dayton Ward's Agents of Influence, an original series novel. Here's the cover blurb. Quote, for years, Starfleet intelligence agents have carried out undercover assignments deep within the Klingon Empire. Surgically altered and rigorously trained in Klingon culture, they operate in plain sight and without any direct support, while collecting information and infiltrating the highest levels of Imperial power. Their actions have given Starfleet valuable insight into the inner workings of the Klingon government and its relentless military apparatus. After 3 of Starfleet's longest-serving agents fear exposure, they initiate emergency extraction procedures. Their planned rendezvous with the USS Endeavour goes awry, threatening to reveal their activities and the damaging intelligence they've collected during their mission. Tasked by Starfleet to salvage the botched rescue attempt, Captain James T. Kirk and the crew of the USS Enterprise must discover the truth behind a secret weapons experiment while avoiding an interstellar incident with its potential to ignite a new war between the Federation and one of its oldest adversaries. Unquote. Now, next up is John Jackson Miller's discovery novel, Die Standing, coming out in July. Quote, no one in the history of histories has lost more than Philippa Georgiou, ruler of the Terran Empire. Forced to take refuge in the Federation's universe, she bids her time until Section 31, a rogue spy force within Starfleet, offers her a chance to work as their agent. She has no intention of serving under anyone else, of course. Her only interest is escape. But when a young Trill, Emily Dax, discovers the powerful interstellar menace, Georgiou recognizes it as a superweapon that escaped her grasp in her own universe. Escorted by a team sent by an untrusting Federation to watch over her, the Emperor journeys to a region forbidden to travelers. But will what she finds there end the threat or give Agent Georgiou the means to create her old empire anew? Unquote. Sounds interesting. August brings us a new Kelvin timeline book, More Beautiful Than Death, from David Mack. Quote, Captain James T. Kirk and the Enterprise crew escort Spock's father, Ambassador Sarek of Vulcan, to a dilithium-rich planet called Acheron. They arrive to find this world under siege by creatures that some of the planet's denizens believe are demons. Sarek orders Kirk to abandon the mission, but the young captain won't turn his back on people in danger. After a harrowing encounter with the Dark Force demons, Kirk's belief in a rational universe is challenged by a mystic who insists that it wasn't coincidence that brought Kirk to Acheron, but the alien equivalent of a karmic debt. Meanwhile, aboard the Enterprise, Sarek's young Vulcan aide, Linnell, has a sinister agenda, and its chief objective appears to be the cold-blooded murder of Spock. Unquote. In October, we have Kirsten Byers' next Voyager novel, To Lose the Earth. This book has been delayed because of her other work on Discovery and Picard. Here's the blurb, quote, as the crew of the Full Circle fleet works to determine the fate of their lost ship, the Galen, a struggle for survival begins as the far edge of the galaxy. New revelations about species 001, the race that built the biodomes, the crew that first drew the fleet to investigate planet DK-1116, force Admiral Catherine Janeway to risk everything to learn the truth. Unquote. Well, they all sound good. Happy reading, or in my case, listening. I really don't have that much time to actually read. Oh, thank you very much. We close out Star Trek news with the passing of actress Marge Doucet at the age of 83. She would be best known to Star Trek fans for her guest appearance on the episode Spock's Brain that happened in the third season of the original series. She played Kara, the girl who put the crew to sleep and then stole Spock's gray matter. She was born in Russell, Kansas in 1936. The role on Star Trek was one of the first she had, and she has also had roles on The Wild Wild West, Bonanza, Hawaii Five-0, The Odd Couple, The Facts of Life, Dallas, and soap operas like Santa Barbara, The Guiding Light, Days of Our Lives, and All My Children. She won 5 Daytime Emmys for her soap opera work. She was twice married and had a son and a daughter. She passed away from natural causes in her Manhattan home. Kalis has returned to Stovokor. Actor Kevin Conway, the actor who played the returned Kalis in the Next Generation episode Birthright, has passed away from a heart attack. Kevin was a veteran actor who started acting at the age of 24. His first major role was as Wayland Wary in 1972's film adaptation of Slaughterhouse-5. He would go on to play such memorable movie roles as Crumb Petrie, the crazy mailman from the Chevy Chase movie Funny Farm, Frank Papale in Disney's Invincible, and Sergeant Buster Kilrain in Gettysburg and the sequel Gods and Generals. His television work included a guest star role in an episode of Homicide, Life on the Street, the control voice on the 1995 reboot of The Outer Limits, episode roles on The Good Wife, Jag, and HBO's Oz. He was 77 years old. Now, let's go on to the Star Wars news. Star Wars actor Jake Lloyd has had many struggles with mental health. The actor, best known for his role as Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace, has had many struggles, including run-ins with the law and the unexpected passing of his younger sister just a couple of years ago. In a statement with Geek News Now, Jake's mother talked about her son's present state, quote, "We would like to thank everyone for their kind words, their support, and goodwill. Jake has been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, but unfortunately, he also has a symptom called agnosia, which causes a lack of insight into his illness. This only adds to the struggle he faces, which has been very difficult after the tragic loss of his younger sister, Madison. He has moved closer to his family, and we are all working hard to help him with this. He is still a kind and caring person, and we hope to have him back to his fun and entertaining self as soon as possible. Jake will continue to make progress with the love and support you continue to show," unquote. My heart goes out to him, and I wish him peace and long life. The Mandalorian season 2 will come to Disney Plus this October. In a first quarter earnings call with CEO Bob Iger, the show has been very successful for Disney, with 65% of viewers of the show going on to try at least 10 other offerings on the streaming service. Mark Hamill got a bit of a surprise last month. An Arizona bookstore tweeted the actor saying that they had found his original copy of the Star Wars soundtrack and wanted to send it back to him. How did they know it was his? The record sleeve was personally inscribed by John Williams to Mark Hamill. In an interview with the New York Times on Monday, Mark said, quote, "I wasn't completely sure it was mine, but I know that I'd had an album signed by John. How would they know that? Unquote. Mark didn't even know that his was missing and assumed that it was still in the basement of his California home with the rest of his record collection. How it got to Bookman's Entertainment Exchange in Flagstaff, Arizona, who can say? All the store knows is that it showed up in a collection a lady brought in of her deceased father's record collection. The record had even been temporarily on sale, but was taken down, and it was posted to Twitter soon thereafter, where Mark Hamill saw it. Within days, it was in the mail back to its Jedi owner. Mark said, quote, "This is so above and beyond, considering they could have sold it," unquote. Mark made his gratitude clear, encouraging his Twitter fans to visit the store, and designed some memorabilia for the store, including a Star Wars DVD and a replica of the medal given to Luke and Han at the end of Star Wars A New Hope. The Star Wars A Galaxy Far, Far Away show at Disney's Hollywood Studios is closing. The show, which featured classic moments from the Skywalker saga brought to life on stage, will be closing soon. However, there apparently is no set end date. However, there are rumors that the show will be closing a week after the scheduled opening of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway on March the 4th. So, you still have time to go see it. I'm guessing that they're closing this because with Galaxy's Edge, there's really no reason to have this, extra show running. Anyway, Taika Waititi is downplaying the rumors that he was offered a Star Wars film. When asked about it by Entertainment Weekly, the Oscar award-winning director / actor said, quote, "Listen, what does approached even mean? I've seen Star Wars, that's about as far as it got," unquote. Now, pushed upon the subject a little bit further, he went on to elaborate, saying, quote, "Look, I'm not an idiot. Who would actually say no to Star Wars? Of course, I didn't send the idea very seriously. It's more that in light of all the things that were happening over the last couple of months, it would make me a little nervous," unquote. So it sounds like no, but he's not saying no completely. So come on, Lucasfilm, balls in your court, unless this is all just a big lie and they've actually hired him, but I'll deal with the facts and not the rumors until something concrete shows up. Now, some more sad news to report. This time, it's actor Alan Harris, who has passed away after a battle with lung cancer. His career mostly was as an extra or stand-in, but he is known to Star Wars fans as the bounty hunter Bossk in The Empire Strikes Back. He also was a security guard on the planet Bespin. Over his career, he showed up in The Living Daylights, Doctor Who, Top Secret, Return of the Jedi, Flash Gordon, The Shining, Superman the Movie, Return of the Jedi, and The Avengers, among several others, and he was usually uncredited, just appearing as a background extra. He was 81 years old. Very, very good. Now let's go on with some geek news. Disney Plus, as I mentioned before, is doing very well. The service has 28.6 million subscribers, which is nearly halfway to its 5-year goal of 60 to 90 million subscribers. Now, this March, the service will be expanding to the United Kingdom, Western Europe, and India, and it will come to the rest of the planet in 2021. So everyone can enjoy, Disney Plus. And there's some more good news for those of you outside of the United States. Hulu will be expanding outside of North America next year. Hulu will also now be the exclusive streaming service for all new FX original programming. Plus, it will start offering in-season streaming of current FX shows and back seasons for almost all those shows. This is very good news. I like what Disney is doing with Hulu. They're making the most out of having both Disney Plus and Hulu. Lethal Weapon 5 is now in development. Yeah, I know you're asking why am I talking about Lethal Weapon 5 in sci-fi news? Well, I have no place to put it, but it's an interesting story nonetheless. According to its Chapter 2 director Dan Lin, it will be the last one. Speaking with the Hollywood Reporter, he said, quote, "I'm going to knock on wood because I don't want to jinx myself, but we're trying to make the last Lethal Weapon movie, and Dick Donner's coming back. The original cast is coming back, and it's just amazing. The story itself is very personal to him. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are ready to go, so it's about the script." Unquote. So, do you want to see Lethal Weapon 5? Yeah. Do you? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Bueller? Anyway, our final piece of sad news here tonight is the death of actor Orson Bean, who passed away after being hit by two cars while walking in the Venice neighborhood of Los Angeles. Orson, who was originally born Dallas Frederick Burroughs in 1928, began acting in 1952 on the Goodyear television playhouse. He would go on to act in dozens of shows, including the Twilight episode Mr. Beavis, 1977's animated The Hobbit, and the sequel The Return of the King, The Love Boat, The Facts of Life, Murder, She Wrote, Tiny Toon Adventures, 146 episodes of Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, 23 episodes of Desperate Housewives. He also made an appearance on Modern Family and Superstore recently. His final TV appearance will be in an episode of Netflix's Grace and Frankie. Now, he's also done quite a few movies as well, including Inner Space, being John Malkovich, and The Equalizer 2. He was nominated for a Grammy in 1979 for The Hobbit and a Screen Actors Guild Award in 2000 for being John Malkovich. Orson Bean was 91 years old. And that will bring us to the end of another sci-fi edition of Multiverse tonight. Now, please be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as Multiverse Tonight as well. And if you'd like to contribute some money, please visit mtpodcast.com to go to our Coffee, Patreon, or glow.fm links as well. And be sure to visit multiversetonight.com to visit our affiliate marketplace, our link to our TeePublic store, our show notes, and so much more. If you're a subscriber, please be sure to share us with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to subscribe. Now, please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. We'll be back in just a couple of days with the comic edition. Have a good night. Farewell. And Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2020. All rights reserved. All right. Stop our recording there for that episode. Now we get to the comics edition. That's pretty good. About 25 minutes for that episode. I change over my Stream Deck for the comics edition. So, let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see something neat I got. I got this a couple days ago. It was the Stephen King pop. Yeah. Pretty neat there. Now I control Stephen King. Mwahaha. Anyway, let's get our notes up for the next show. Again, I'm always amazed by the time I get to the show that I actually have 20 pages worth of show notes. Yeah. I always like to hit that 30-minute mark on my shows if I can. And I think 30 minutes is just about the proper length of time for a show. Make sure I got my stuff tied down here. Okay. And ready. Tonight, Owen Wilson might be coming to an MCU show near you. Wonder Woman has a new weapon, and who won the Oscars? Much and much, much more on this edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 62 of Multiverse Tonight. This is our comics edition, of course. So, did you watch the Oscars this past Sunday? Yeah, it was an okay show. You know, there are a few surprises like Eminem, the fact that Joker didn't sweep the awards, and John Williams not winning, the award for the soundtrack for his final Star Wars film. Yeah, I really thought that he should have won. Heck, I really think they should just give him the Lifetime Achievement Award. And anyway, apparently, if you missed it, you're not alone. The Oscar viewership this year sank to a new low this year for all time. So that's not really a good sign. Either that, or that shows that other people, most people, record it and then watch it back later. Now, I've noticed a lot of the usual complaints: lack of diversity in the acting categories, too many politics. Was surprising, which is surprising because there wasn't a lot of big moments of politics. A few speeches, but not as much as say a couple of years back. Now, I've also heard the complaints too long, which was about 3.5 hours. That's pretty typical for an awards show like that. They could shorten it by having the best songs not all performed during the course of the evening. You have either short clips or maybe a medley of some kind. The maybe no confusing performances by Eminem. I've also seen some complaints about how so and so was missing from the in memoriam section. Folks, they only have so much time to do that, and a lot of people die in the course of a year. And of course, the Motion Picture Association is not just actors; it's all members. Producers, directors, seamstresses. The whole width and breadth. So some of these people will get remembered on these shows, and some people will be remembered on other award shows. You know, we're only a few months away now from the Emmy Awards, so just as long as you remember those who have passed away, that's the important part. So just keep them up here. Anyway, let's start off with the Marvel news. And we start off Marvel news with Rick and Morty, which have been known to exist in multitudes of universes on the show, but did you know they exist in other universes? Or rather, the show does. In Marvel's Marauders number 6, Rick and Morty gets a mention when Yellowjacket mentions that Pyro has, quote, made himself a couple of Long Island iced teas, and now he's in the yacht's movie theater watching Rick and Morty, unquote. That makes me wonder. Oni Press currently makes the Rick and Morty comics. Perhaps Marvel and Oni can come together for a Marvel Rick and Morty crossover. Anyone want to start a tweet hashtag for that? Rick and Morty does Marvel. That'd be kind of interesting. Marvel Comics has a new wannabe Captain America character in its upcoming Falcon and Winter Soldier miniseries. The Natural is described as a Captain America superfan vigilante who will pose a threat to the duo. Falcon and Winter Soldier writer Derek Landy told comicbook.com, quote, in combat, no matter how good you are, there will always be someone better than you, someone who's stronger or quicker or who's trained that a little bit more. Even someone who's luckier. That's where the Natural came from. That fear in a fighter's mind that maybe their next opponent will be the one to outclass them, unquote. Artist Federico Vicenti added to the conversation, quote, he wants to be Captain America, his idol, his hero, but he does that from the wrong side of the barricade, unaware of his mistakes. Bucky and Sam will have to do their best to show him what it really means to be Captain America. For his costume, I tried to keep some details from Cap's old one, the boots for example, but I also added something new like the black logo on his chest and mask to point out the dark traits of his behavior, unquote. Falcon and Winter Soldier number 1 comes out on February 26th. Actor Owen Wilson is in talks to join Disney Plus's Loki series, according to sources close to The Hollywood Reporter. What character he would possibly be is completely unknown. However, Rick and Morty writer Michael Waldron is writing the plot for the series, for the show, and will be acting as show creator and executive producer. So in other words, it could be anything. Now, while we don't have a release window for that series yet, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier will be coming in August, and WandaVision will debut this December. Fast 9 star Tyrese Gibson gave an update on his character in Sony's Morbius and how the film is progressing. Tyrese will be playing Agent Shroud. He told comicbook.com at the F9 event in Miami, quote, I play a character named Agent Shroud, Agent Simon Shroud, opposite Jared Leto. It's the Spider-Man spin-off Morbius, Venom, Marvel. I'm just excited to be part of this franchise. I love the Fast and the Furious, but I've been wanting to be a part of another franchise because the last time I was in a franchise was Transformers, which is not too shabby, unquote. Fast and Furious, Transformers. Well, he does have a knack for being in successful franchises, so could Tyrese rub off on the extended Spider-Man franchise? I guess we'll see. Now, sooner or later, we knew that the X-Men movie franchise would get rebooted. So what advice would former Cyclops actor James Marsden give to the next man who fills the role? Collider talked with Marsden while he was promoting Sonic the Hedgehog, and he gave them, a bit of an idea. Quote, the biggest challenge was that the audience and other actors never being able to see your eyes. Definitely was a handicap in bringing a persona to the character and an energy to the character. To a character who is also very by nature, very by the books, kind of a Boy Scout, do the right thing. He's a foil to Wolverine's character, who is more fly by the seat of his pants, a little more unpredictable and aggressive. I would just say lean into it, own it, and carve out your own thing. The fans of the books are going to tell you it needs to be this. Find a new way to make it interesting because it is tough to get something interesting and cool and different across when no one ever sees your eyes, which is obviously, the main part of the character. Unquote. Hmm? Well, I guess that's kind of, food for thought. What do you think would would you know would a good Cyclops need? You know. Hmm. Anyway, let's go on to the DC Comics news. Now, whoops. Whoops. Now let's go on with the DC Comics news. Now we begin the DC Comics news with Arrow, which is officially done. However, it kind of looks like a lot of people said goodbye earlier than others. The ratings for the final episode are out. 723,000 tuned in for the episode, which was an almost 20% drop from the week before. Now, it was helped by the fact, it wasn't helped by the fact that it was moved back an hour for a very special Arrow special. Plus, who watches TV shows when they're actually on anyway? That's just so 20th century. Anyway, the Batman has begun principal photography, and we now know what role actress Jamie Lawson is playing in the movie. Or do we? Business Wire lists her as as Canda Bella. Real. Since there is no character in known Batman lore by that name, she's either a new character that plays some role in the film, or that character's name is completely false, and she's actually playing another role. Now, some suggestions have been Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, if this pans out at all. We also are learning that actor Peter Skarsgård will be playing the role of Gotham City District Attorney Gil Colson, which is, you guessed it, another name that has no known usage in the DC Comics universe. So, again, could this be a brand new character, or is this another lie? And this is just another character by a different name. Who knows? Next. Now, on to comics news. Scott Snyder has given Wonder Woman a brand new weapon. The writer posted on his Twitter a link to a Newsarama article showing Wonder Woman wielding a chainsaw-like device. Scott added, quote, "It's called the Chainsaw of Truth," unquote. Now, the weapon will show up in the sequel to Dark Knight Metal. Now, not much is known about this new series, only that, quote, "the mayhem is imminent," unquote. So, I guess we'll see if she goes full Ash with it. In John Constantine's Hellblazer number 4, John Constantine gets introduced to Tommy Willowtree, a street mage who's been guarding England from mystical threats since Constantine's been away, causing a new era of peace in London using white magic. Tommy is, quote, "a gentleman, a scholar, a clean-living vegan acolyte of love," unquote. In other words, everything that Constantine isn't, and that's something that John just can't stand. Unfortunately, Constantine is just going to have to suck it up and team up with him. John Constantine Hellblazer number 4 will have brand new artist Matthias Bergara taking over for Aaron Campbell, and joining writers Simon Spurrier and colorist Jordi Belair. It's coming to comic book stores on February 26th. Writer-artist and any reader will be bringing a new character to the DC Universe in her upcoming Amethyst series. In an interview with CBR.com, she said, quote, "I can't wait for everyone to meet Foss. Creating new characters is always on my radar. It's fun and necessary to keep things fresh. I got a chance to do this at Marvel with Moon Girl, and I'm so glad she took off the way she did. For the sake of this miniseries, Foss is tied to Gemworld only. But I would love if she really takes off into the general DCU. It's strange that I haven't thought about that yet. Foss is the first new teen friend Amy makes a commoner from Turquoise, the warrior realm. She's maybe a little too easygoing and too honest, but she's a perfect foil to Princess Amethyst and keeps her grounded. Oh, and no biggie, but Foss is a lesbian animal lover with 4 forearms, and she rides a giant caterpillar named Stan. Whatever. Anyway, the strength of friendship is a major element to the story, so you'll see a lot of Foss and that and other upcoming and the other upcoming character Maxie. Unquote. Now, Amethyst is not a new character. She was created by Dan Mishkin, Gary Cohn, and Ernie Colin back in 1983's Legion of Superheroes issue number 298, where the character, otherwise known as Amy Winston, discovered that she was a princess of the House of Amethyst on Gemworld. Here's the plot, quote, following her triumphant reintroduction in the pages of Young Justice, the new Amethyst miniseries follows teenager Amy Winston, aka Princess Amethyst, as she returns to her magical kingdom to celebrate her 16th birthday in style. The only problem? Her kingdom is missing. Her subjects have vanished, and none in the realm of Gemworld, even her best friend Lady Turquoise, remain loyal to her house. Alone and dejected, Amy's forced to find new allies and confront dark secrets on an all-new quest on the furthest reaches of Gemworld. Unquote. Now, that comic, Amethyst #1, will release on February 26th. Comic writer Steve Orlando is stepping out. The writer, who has been working for DC Comics for the past 4 years, is moving away from the distinguished competition to a number of other publishers. To mark the end of his contract, he had an interview with The Hollywood Reporter. It's a good interview, I'll just quote a little bit of it here. When asked why he signed exclusively with DC, he said, quote, I mean, look, I grew up a DC guy. I was, knocked over when they offered me that contract after Midnighter. And of course, it's nice to have that reliability and a home for most of your work. But I mean, young Steve, who was reading DC books at flea markets in the 1980s and early 90s, it's a dream job. And by the way, working for DC's still a dream job. When you're an adult, you realize that dreams have to evolve and change. So at the time, there was no way that I would stay away from that because it's like playing for the Yankees, he laughed. So of course, I would take it. And it's still a company that I have and characters that I have to have great affection for. I'm excited to continue working on Wonder Woman for that reason. These are icons, and to be asked to become a lasting part of those things, it's an honor. It's a huge responsibility, and there's just no way I wouldn't do that, unquote. So, in other words, to break it down, he's not leaving DC completely. He's just going to be more of a free agent, able to work for, any other company he wants. And right now, he announced that he will be working for TKO, Studio Arancia, and will be publishing his prose work with Fuse Literary. Well, good job. Good work, good luck. Birds of Prey has been flying a little lower than expected in its opening weekend. The movie only debuted to a Friday box office of 33 to 35 million. Warner Brothers had been aiming for a 45 to 50 million dollar box office opening. Now, there are several factors for this, including its R rating, causing the younger kids from seeing the movie. Its February opening date, could be something else. However, the ratings and reviews can't be blamed, as it's gotten largely positive reviews. Now, let's take a quick moment here to look at the box office report. As we see, let's start down the bottom. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood starts at number 21. Now, if you go up farther, Spies in Disguise at number 17. Frozen 2 is still hanging out there at number 15. Now, let's start at number 12. Jojo Rabbit drops from 15 to 12. Parasite, which, again, just won so many Academy Awards, jumped from number 14 to number 11. That was just on the pre-Oscars buzz. Could it reach number 1 for this next week? Based on that, I just heard they doubled the number of theaters it's going to be in next week. So we'll see. Knives Out went from number 11 to number 10. Episode 9, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, fell from 7 to 9. It's still doing pretty well. Domestic gross just over $500 million, 510. So it's still hanging out there. Little Women holds at number 8. Gretel and Hansel goes from number 4 to number 7. The Gentleman holds at number 6. Jumanji: The Next Level holds at 5. It's doing pretty well. It's made $298 million domestically. Doolittle drops from number 3 to number 4. 1917, which again got a lot of awards as well, so I'll expect that to go up probably one space next week. It made $9.2 million for $132 million overall. Bad Boys for Life fell from number 1 to number 2 with $12 million. Here's your number 1 again, Birds of Prey, which is now going to be titled in all the ads and stuff as Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. I guess another thing they're thinking is maybe that's what threw people off. People were looking for the Harley Quinn movie, not Birds of Prey. It again made $33 million. Was in 4,000 theaters. I mean, average of $7,000 a theater. $33 million. The good news is that domestically, the movie is actually doing okay. When you bring in the international box office, the movie's doing great. It's almost made back the cost to produce it. So again, I guess we'll have to wait and see if Warner Brothers' new approach at retitling the movie, happens to work. Couldn't hurt. Let's go on to the geek news. Could a new Green Hornet movie be in the offing? The Green Hornet movie rights have been acquired by Amazia Entertainment, a company run by former Marvel Studios president Michael Helfand and Bradley Gallo. In a statement, Helfand said, quote, "This is one of the only standalone classic superhero franchises. We're a bunch of fan geeks at Amazia and are thrilled about creating something fresh and truly worthy of this legacy property, a new world that is relevant and thrilling, while respecting and honoring the original vision. When I was a kid, The Green Hornet was one of my favorite television shows. I loved everything about it, the Green Hornet, Kato, and of course, the Black Beauty. They were the coolest. It was personally painful to leave them all behind when I left Dimension. So I tried to option the property again at Marvel before it went over to Sony, and then again in 2017 before the rights landed at Paramount," unquote. Now, as he said, the rights have been bouncing from studio to studio for years now. Now, the last time that anything was made with it was 2011's The Green Hornet starring Seth Rogen, which did poorly. So it'll be interesting to see if something worthy of the property can be made. I wish him all the luck. Now, speaking of projects that might come again, The Crow is back in active development. According to BloodyDisgusting.com, Davis Films, Highland Film Group, and Electric Shadow's planned reboot of The Crow might be moving forward after a near 18 months of no word, no movement, no nothing. The reboot had originally been planned for release back in October of last year, but development fell apart in summer of 2018 when star Jason Momoa and director Corin Hardy left the project, causing Sony Pictures to pull it. So far, no new director or actor has surfaced. When we hear it, we'll let you know. Ron Howard has given an update on Disney Plus's Willow series. Ron talked to Variety for the project, saying, quote, "We're working on it. It's not greenlit, but I was just on the phone today discussing it with Jonathan, who has written the scripts. It's in serious development, but there's nothing to announce quite yet," unquote. Now, Ron has also confirmed that talks are ongoing for Willow star Warwick Davis to return, saying, quote, "If it happens, Warwick will definitely be a part of it," unquote. That'd be kind of interesting. Of course, Warwick is getting on in years, so could he be kind of the catalyst in the series, and not the main adventurer? Basically make his children be the catalyst. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Disney Pixar's new movie Onward has a lawsuit on its hands. The Hollywood Reporter reports that artist Sweet Cecily Dinar is suing Onward producer Corey Ray over the design of the van driven by the movie's main characters. Her design, called Vanicorn, shows a white unicorn in front of a blue and purple sky with bolts of lightning extending behind it. In the movie, the character's van shows a white Pegasus in front of a blue and purple sky with lightning bolts in the background. According to Danner, Disney contacted her to use Vanicorn as a showpiece for a festival. Now, not long after that, she noticed the similarity and pointed it out online. Onward producer Corey Ray apologized for not making her aware there were plans to use the Vanicorn design in the movie because, at the time of the festival, the movie didn't even have a title, and without a title, Disney couldn't have Danaher sign a non-disclosure agreement. Ms. Danaher is now suing Disney for copyright infringement, as well as violations of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the Visual Artists' Rights Act, and the California Artists Protection Act. Onward will hit theaters on March 6th. The 40th Golden Raspberry Awards, aka the Razzie nominations, have been announced, and Cats ran away with it though a cat runs from a dog. Cats got nominations for Worst Picture, Director, Actress, Supporting Actor for James Corden, Supporting Actress for Dame Judi Dench and Rebel Wilson, Worst Screen Combo for any two characters in Cats, and Jason Derulo and his CGI neutered bulge, and Worst Screenplay. Hellboy received 5 nominations, including Worst Director, Worst Actor for David Harbour, Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel, Worst Screenplay, and Reckless Endangerment for Human Life and Public Property. Dark Phoenix received 2 nominations, Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel, and Worst Supporting Actor for Jessica Chastain. But it's not all thumbs in the eyes. They're also going to give out a Razzie Redeemer Award for those who have come back from making bad. This year's nominations go to Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers, Eddie Murphy for Dolomite Is My Name, Keanu Reeves for John Wick 3 and Toy Story 4, Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems, and Will Smith for Aladdin. The awards ceremony, which typically precedes the Oscars, has not been announced yet, so stay tuned. But we do know who won the Oscars. Parasite walked away with 4, sucking the award away from the frontrunner Joker. It won Best Director for Bong Joon-ho, Best Original Screenplay for Bong Joon-ho and Han Jin-won, and both Best Picture and Best International Picture, marking the first time a foreign film has won the Best Picture award. Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for Joker. Taika Waititi won Best Adapted Screenplay for Jojo Rabbit. Toy Story 4 won for Best Animated Feature Film. Now, I was hoping that Randy Newman or John Williams would have won this category, but for best original score went to Joker's Hildur Gunthnor Dortier. If I pronounced that right, please don't add dollar. I researched I researched that name several times. Hildur Guðnordóttir. It's she's Icelandic. So, you know, if I got right, yay. Anyway, a bit of sad news to close out the show here. Archie Comics editor in chief Victor Gorlick has passed away. In an announcement on the Archie's Comic Twitter account this past Saturday, quote, "We are extremely heartbroken and devastated to inform the Archie family of the passing of Archie Comics icon and editor-in-chief Victor Gorlick, who made Riverdale's home for over 60 years. No person embodied the Archie spirit more than Victor, who was a leader, friend, and mentor to everyone that walked through the doors of Archie. A lifelong friend and mentor to Archie Comics co-CEO John Goldwater, and an inspiration to the entire Archie Comics family, Victor will never be forgotten. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his wife Kathy, his family, his friends, and his many fans." Unquote. Gorlick first joined Archie Comics when he was just 16 as an art assistant over the years. There he picked up skills and moved up the ladder until he was eventually named editor-in-chief in 2007. He was honored with the Inkpot Award in 2008. During his tenure, he oversaw collaborations with Kraft, Radio Shack, and the FBI. In addition to his day job at Archie Comics, he also served on the Comic Book Authority Guidelines Committee and was a member of the Board of Advisors of the Joe Kubert School of Cartoon and Graphic Art. He was 78 years old. We send our best wishes to Archie Comics and to Mr. Gorlick's family. And that brings us to the end of the comic book news. Be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute some money, please go over and visit mtpodcast.com to go to our Coffee, Patreon, or now with our glow.fm links as well. And be sure to go over to Multiverse Tonight and please go and hit the Support Me link at the top of the page. And, of course, visit multiversetonight.com and check out the affiliate marketplace links, the link to the TeePublic store, our show notes, and so much more. And if you're a subscriber, please share us with at least one friend. And if you're brand new to the show, thank you very much. Please be sure to subscribe and leave us with some feedback and let me know how we're doing. I always like to know that. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for our intro music and for Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in just 2 weeks with the sci-fi edition. Now, please, exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Big Genre Productions. Copyright 2020. All rights reserved. Well, thank you very much for those who watched, especially the leader. Thank you for subscribing and joining us. And again, if you like the show, please feel free to tell others about us. I do this show as a public service. Because I like to let others know